if you saw the game, you already know what sucked. And you already know how I feel if you've been following me on social media. Because I've been quiet. Because I take my L's in silence. And I don't feel like you should say anything. Or anything should be said to you. Moreover, number 14 and 24, I hope y'all got some decent educations. Because y'all ain't going to the league. Today is the first month of 2018 on the 9th day, and I am your host, Hero, and this is the Identity Booth podcast. We are here to talk about what's going on, and more importantly, who are you? So let's get down to business. Let's not even delay. Let me be angry. Let me be open. I got a new mic, everybody, celebrating the upcomings. I'll be able to do a sponsored version of this in the future once I figure out if I like this mic. I don't really know if I like this mic so much because I get to plug it into my computer and it sounded like garbage. So right now I'm recording out of my iPad that I got from my dad, and it's so old, you can't even unlock it with your fingerprint. Think about that, kids. But we're here to talk about the game, and you guys got 30 minutes of action, so let's get to it without any further ado. Georgia versus Alabama. How big of a game does it have to be? And how big of a situation, how big of a stage, how big of anything do you need, could you ever ask for? It's college football, baby. You got to be pumped up for that. But I'm a good sport because I'm a great winner. And great winners know how to take an L. We handed out a few of them this year, and it's only right that we get handed one. 100% of college football shows up to play. Only 50% of college football will leave winners. And that is even true at the end. There can only be one. Highlander. You guys definitely won that game. Congratulations to Nick Saban and the Alabama Elephants. Tied, more, poverty, whatever else you guys won this year. Congratulations. Alabama needed this win more than Georgia. In the grand scheme of things. You guys have Roy Moore. So I guess you guys needed one victory. The UN, the United Nations, came down to Alabama to investigate poverty levels and labeled it as bad as a third world country. So Alabama probably needed this win desperately, and they won. And they didn't like limp into this. It took courage, tenacity, and just this is what happened. This is what it's like playing on legendary mode. And you are like Big Boss. If any of you guys are Metal Gear Solid fans, you know one of the prized possessions of finishing that game is getting one of the headbands. The headband gives you unlimited ammo, gives you camouflage. It makes you a legend because Big Boss, as his title would sound and project, is someone who is known to be a legend. His stories and tales of what he's done are legendary. And Alabama tales and stories of what they've done is legendary. Don't believe me? Listen to this story. What if I told you you went into halftime down 20 or 13? You were given a goose egg, and your opponent has scored 2 touchdowns worth or plus of points on you. During the halftime, you switched your quarterback from a sophomore to a freshman. Mind you, that sophomore is no slug. He ran for the furthest play of the game thus far, and he was gaining on your opponent. For all intents and purposes, he wasn't doing the best, but he's taking you to the SEC championship last year, which you won, and a college playoff championship the year before as well. So he's no slouch. He's 13-2. So imagine me going into halftime telling you that this team, this imaginary team, switched their quarterback to a true freshman. And not only is he a true freshman, He's a left-handed true freshman. And you came back, shut your opponent out for 30 minutes, and not only that, you missed the game-winning field goal, and you had to go into overtime. And then I told you, on top of all of that, you only gained 200 yards, total yards, and I told you you won. Name a college football team right now who could do that. And if the answer isn't Alabama, I'm sorry to tell you, whatever team you picked, you're being delusional. That is legendary status. And Alabama won this game outright. That number 13, I'm not even going to attempt to say his name. He's from Hawaii. The first words out of this man's mouth lets you know where he's from. That boy's from Alabama. Now he is. His life has changed. He went from being the bag boy of the quarterbacks to I'm front and center. There's no more quarterback discussions. I'd much rather take my time grooming this guy than Hurts. And Hurts, if you're listening to me, if you're friends with Hurts, if you're a family member listening to Hurts, you need to be near him. He needs to be on a suicide watch. There is no way in hell Jalen Hurts should return back to Alabama. And all you parents out there, all you love-mongering, sports fanatic-ass parents, more concerned with your kid knowing how to do a 3-step drop than knowing how to break up fractions, basic algebra, reading at a 5th grade level, anything. Go out and teach your kid about acid-base dilution so they know what not to pour on something, just anything. All you parents out there more concerned with your kids' athletic paralysis instead of their financial, educational, whatever. Their diet, they go out there and run 16 laps and you take them to McDonald's right afterwards. Shame on you. All you parents, I hope you got a very clear message about what happened yesterday. Yesterday's a prime example of what not to do when a college coach comes knocking on your door, kissing up to you, and telling you your son's going to be great, your son's going to be awesome. The parents' eyes get big. They put that kid on the bench. How the hell do you get benched during a championship game? You want to know how? Your coach is Nick Saban, and Nick Saban has ice for blood. Think about what I just said. I know what I just said. I just replaced a liquid with a solid and told you he's okay with it. Because that's what he did. Jalen Hurts is transferring. Jalen Hurts' transfer papers were submitted as soon as the halftime clock started. Whoever his mom and dad is, pack your bags. You're going to a D2 school. Jalen Hurts is leaving Alabama. He has a full scholarship, so he could stay there. No, not a problem. And get an education, but he'll never play football. He'll probably never wear an Alabama jersey again, but he could get his education there. But think about how treacherous and manipulative our education system is, especially in the student-athlete world, where a kid who goes to Alabama with a full-ride scholarship is still leaving because he can't play football. I'm here to ask you, is he a student-athlete or an athlete-student? Don't answer that question, because Jalen Hurts has the answer. The answer is UAPB, Jalen. Come on. We need you, baby. We'll take you. You could throw 7 interceptions in one game. We'll leave you in. UAPB, hey, come on down. Ken Dawg, we need you, bro. The bluff where it's rough. We don't got no money, but you gonna play. Yeah, you gonna play. You could throw 6 interceptions in one quarter. You gonna play. Because our red shirts stay red shirts. A red shirt freshman get called up by the coach. Hey, freshman. all my football player friends will know. Hey, come here, get in. Nah, coach, I can't. I'm just thinking about all the times I've seen a red shirt freshman in the HBCU game get called up, and all you hear from the stands is the father screaming, "Don't you dare! Sit down, boy. They gonna take you 5 years to graduate. If you step on that field, you only got 4. Sit down." No, sorry, coach. I don't think I'm ready. Imagine a player telling a coach he ain't ready to play. Hey, but that's the difference. That's the college difference. And as I'm joking, and I really feel for the Georgia Bulldogs, because this is their second year under a new coach, and they made it to the Natty, man. Like, you made it. But there was a very clear difference, and if you know me, I've been saying, I've held my tongue, but now that the season's over, I can speak freely. The Rose Bowl game, as great as it was for fans, any true football expert saw that game as a ticking time bomb. And what was the bomb? The bomb was fatigue. The crown of a champion. That crown is heavy. And it's heavy for a reason. Because if you can't handle it, it'll fall. But if you can handle it, what you'll gain is stamina. And you're like, what do you mean stamina? Training, workout? No, of course you'll get that and you'll only get better. But what you get is a certain level of just win. You know how to win. You know how to close games out. You know how to finish people. You know how to fall. You know how to draw flags. You know how to make flags go away. You know how to tame a crowd. You know how to tame a team. You know how to tame a coach. And that's what you get when you have Alabama. 5 out of the 3 times this game has happened, before this game happened, Alabama won 3 of them. That's over 50%. That's flipping a coin. You every 3 years, flip a coin, you might win a national championship. So that means if you're there as a freshman, if you're there as a redshirt freshman, and you make it all the way to your senior year, you might walk away from that school with 2 national championships, just by the law average. And based on the only numbers we have, as it stands now, you will definitely leave there 2 national championships. And this is the problem. This is the one problem, and there's a bunch of stats out there that made this game a little bit more predictable. But, like, for example, the last 11 coaches to go against their teacher, which was Nick Saban, have all been brutally murdered. In fact, this is the closest any one game has ever been. And this is the only 6th coach. This is the 6th coach to have a decisive lead over Nick Saban. So the Dogs had everything they needed to win this fight. The only thing they didn't have is stamina. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by the stamina. They weren't out of shape. They weren't lazy. They legitimately ran out of gas on life. And this might sound strange to you, but it's not strange to anybody that's ever played sports. Let's take it by numbers. In high school, a winning championship, a state championship wrestling ring, for example, ISHA. My senior year, I wrestled 124 matches. 124 matches. My freshman year or my sophomore year, first time I won conference, I only wrestled 60. Look at those 2 numbers. That's almost half. That is half. That's more. Yeah, that's more than half. So, like, basically, what happened was, from my sophomore year to my senior year, I developed a certain level of stamina, a winning stamina, which allowed me to outperform people. Not because I was bigger, stronger, or faster. a lot of the times I just won because they hadn't gone this far. They hadn't been wrestling for this long. Their body, their mind, all had a limit, which was at 70, that's all I can pretty much handle. And every match, every win, every lap, every push-up, everything I do related to my sport from here on out is going to eat away from me in a physical form. These kids, Georgia, this time last year, was out recruiting. They were going back to school. Their first meeting wouldn't take place for another 2 months from now. Georgia would not be in pads right now. Georgia would not be in conditioning shape right now. But guess what? 3 out of the 5 years, Alabama was. Alabama's used to playing football well into January, well into December. Think about some of your teams. And this is why I think the whole debate about the 8-team bracket, because half is ridiculous. Because half of them won't make it physically. You've got to be out of your mind thinking that Florida school would have the winning stamina to keep up with people. LSU, when was the last time LSU, who am I thinking of? If you didn't make the playoffs this year, or if you lost 3 games this year, your football ended probably in October. We're in the second week of the new year. That's 6 additional weeks of football. 6 additional weeks of running laps, taking hits, getting down in your stance, memorizing plays, and at the end of each of those weeks, putting your body to the ultimate test in a full 60-minute sport. Full contact 60-minute sport. It's unimaginable. It's unbearable. And I'm not using this as an excuse or to take this away from Alabama, because as much as I dislike them, the truth, it goes without saying that this is what you get with Alabama. You get Alabama on the ground, you're up by 20, and you let a freshman destroy you, dismantle you. Number 14 and 24 for Georgia. I hope you guys got your education's worth. You're 2 seniors. Don't go to the don't be spiteful, hero. Y'all both cover 2. You got beat by a go route after your defensive line. Number 78, you're an animal. Listen to me, Shokbo. You're an animal, and your stance is ugly. But boy, you saved them on too many accounts. You're a junior. Godspeed, man. Work on that rip. You're going to make it. But your defensive line gave you a 18-yard sack. All y'all got to do is just sit at the goal line. If anything goes past you, hold them, punch them, grab them. You let a freshman throw a go route like over your head in cover 2. Man. Like, if all scouts saw that, you're not going to the league. And if you do, congratulations, make your mama proud, buy them something nice. Because you're not going to be there long. So save whatever you get. Because they're going to expose you. And you better go get some training. And this is going to speak further to Georgia's game plan for the next few years. You guys have, where was Shoney? Where was he at the end of the game? Where was Swift? Where were these dynamic runners? And what happened to the game plan of just running Alabama's defense down? What I feel happened is they just ran out of the winning stamina. They didn't have it. Georgia just didn't have it. If they had to play this game again in 3 weeks, if they had to play this game again at the beginning of the season next year, Georgia will beat them by a landslide. But because this is not necessarily, they had the home field advantage and everything, but they did one thing advantage they didn't have is experience. And experience from a coaching perspective. But, kudos to them. Congratulations to Alabama. The Georgia Bulldogs will be back. It won't take them 40 years. But they definitely have to build their defense. Build their defense like they were building their offense. Because now they know firsthand defense wins championships. And if you don't believe me, ask number 13, how's it feel to be a champion? Because he'll tell you he looked down two cover twos. He looked down a disguised cover two and threw a go route behind number 14 and number 24 after taking an 18-yard sack. Tragic. But let's get to the news because I don't got that much time. I might give y'all a little bit extra time since I went on this rant. I know y'all don't even come here for like football. I'm not a sportscaster, but that's what I was doing this weekend. It's the identity booth. I'm trying to identify with y'all, and everybody keeps texting me and asking me like did I have extra tickets? Let's go over the facts. If you texted me and asked me if I had extra tickets, you wasn't gonna get one. Okay. If you have to ask me, hey, can I get a ticket to come to the game? You aren't coming. Like, I invite people that I want there already. 2, I didn't have tickets. And then 3, nah, leave me alone. And let's get to the news, man. I'm still taking questions. But I was looking at the stats for this. Only 4 people listened to the first podcast, and I think 22 finally listened to the second podcast. So hey, numbers go up. But like I said, I do this mostly for my mom. She enjoys hearing this. She might not like this podcast too much because I'm talking about her Georgia Bulldogs. She was so hurt. Oh man, the whole family was hurt. And just it was just talking about family. My brother, Luke bin Abdullah, man. I don't know. Everybody asks me, is Luke into football because of me? And I would say, no. Luke's into football because Luke wants to be into football. And they'd be like, oh, it's no wonder he's such a novice at picking out talent for football. I mean, look at who his brother is. I'm here to tell you, he told me that I would not make it at Georgia. I wouldn't qualify. And it speaks character and magnitude to him, but it goes without saying that my little brother has made our family beyond proud. To set us up in a situation where we all could be together to celebrate his achievements and success is beyond, any award or any plaque that you could ever get. As great as it would have been to win the championship, the truth be told, I got the greatest gift of all, which is getting to see my family's name celebrated in lights. Being able to stand idly and watch my siblings get the attention, notoriety, and accepting praise on a national level. And that should be his defining moment. That his abilities, his talents, his skill, his perseverance, his struggles, his trials and tribulations, they all brought about a healthy harvest. And his family is eating good in the neighborhood. And I want you to know, Luke, because I know he doesn't listen to these, so it's really funny. I want you to know, Big Bro's proud of you. But more importantly, I'm expecting more. This is just the beginning. Don't be complacent. Don't let victory defeat you. Enjoy this loss. It's going to make you a way better champion next year. But on to the news. So has anybody checked up on Agent Orange? He was at the game. He was booed. And he doesn't know the national anthem. And I'm not going to make fun of him for not knowing the national anthem. They said only 20... I saw like a stat review says only about 25% of the people in America know the national anthem by heart. I don't. And people will be like, oh yeah, pro-black. And I'm like, well, here's another fact. I don't know the Nigerian national anthem. I don't know any national anthems. You want to know why? Because national anthems are boring. You can't play them in your car radio. If anybody walked up to you with the national anthem of any country playing, wouldn't you look at that person a little weird? You want to know how weird I find? Maybe this is just me. But I also find like knowing the lyrics to just any random song outside of the top 100 in your current year, all you 90s babies, that's weird too. Shut up. Stop saying lyrics. We're talking about who let the dogs out. But I don't care that he doesn't know the national anthem. That's dumb to me. I feel like the news just gives this guy a platform every other day. Anything he does is just dumb. Like, I mean, anything he does, they just use it to and they're talking about his tweet about him being a genius. Listen, guys, he is a genius. He outsmarted all our asses. He is a billionaire or a millionaire, whatever his money amount is, whatever his dollar worth is. Oh, he's been bankrupt 12 times, and yet he still has money. You ain't never been bankrupt, and you still don't got money. So what's your excuse? Like, when he calls himself a genius, in the aspect of and this is where my like conservative mindset comes from. In the definition of the term, no, he is not a genius. But if someone walked up to me and told me that a guy who went bankrupt 12 times has multiple sexual harassment charges put against him, and we even have him on tape saying grab her by the pussy. Excuse my French, but hey, he said it first. On top of that, he's been married 3 times. He's grotesquely unfit to be president. He had 3 major shows, and he somehow became president. And you told me all those things, and he still became president. Yeah, he's a genius because he did it somehow, some way. He did it, and I challenge anybody. To just give this president a day without anybody mentioning his name. When he left the country, how peaceful was it? When he left the country to do his little tour in Saudi Arabia, how peaceful was it knowing that this idiot wasn't here to just mess anything up? Anyway, I'm okay with him not knowing the national anthem, and I'm also okay with him not knowing that he's... I'm okay with him calling himself a genius. Because guess what? I call myself a genius too. And don't act like you've never self-proclaimed yourself to be something that you're not. It's called self-esteem. And some of us need to build it. Even those people who happen to have the most powerful army and greatest country backing them still need a little bit of a pat on the back. But in the terms of baby finger strumps, he's more of like a toddler, so he needs a belly rub. Where's Kellyanne Conway? Baby Trump needs some attention. Go help him out. But let's talk what else we got on the news. On the first podcast, I'm not sure if I even mentioned this, so I'll redo the story. But basically, like in Virginia, a 17-year-old neo-Nazi kid was told to break up with his 15-year-old girlfriend. He didn't like that, so he snuck into the 15-year-old girl's house and killed her parents, and then proceeded to put a bullet in his head. Unfortunately for us, he survived. But what's even more grotesque than a neo-Nazi 17-year-old shooting and killing a 15-year-old girl's parents in cold blood over neo-Nazis is the fact that that state has now decided to trial him if he survives his injuries and can go through procedures of court as a minor. And what this basically means is that he cannot get a significant punishment by all intents and purposes, which has now opened up the debate, which is now the second time. We haven't heard anything about the neo-Nazi who ran over the girl, Heather Heyer, in I think it was South Carolina. Excuse me for not remembering, but we all know what happened. Basically, there was a bunch of riots about the statues being removed, and this madman hit a girl and killed her and several other people, but they survived. But Heather Heyer died, and he's arrested. And the president's famous quotes were, "There's fine people on both sides." And this is now echoing throughout the country. The neo-Nazi 17-year-old had the wherewithal to find a gun, pick it up, and murder two people off of ideology, and was cowardly enough to try and avoid the punishment by taking his own life. And we're saying that this grown man wasn't aware of what he was doing because his mind wasn't developed enough. The hypocrisy. The sympathetic nerve branch that we extend to white privilege is so exhausting. Like, this is something that can't happen. How do you expect... This 50-year-old girl's life is over. She's going to be committing suicide or harming herself in the near future, because she's just been surrounded by so much pain. I know that's horrible to say for me, but think about it, man. She lost her parents to a neo-Nazi that she fell in love with. She loved the thing that ended her life. And now the state has openly said, you know what? You're right. He shouldn't be put to fault for this. She's like, wow, that's crazy. But I'm interested to see how this happens. More importantly, since they're thinking about trialing him as a minor, we haven't heard much about this guy's parents. And I'm going to do some research for you guys and find out more about the parents. But the parents need to be in handcuffs as well. I mean, how many days, how many months, how many weeks? I mean, how many times did you hear Hail Hitler before you said, "No, what? I don't think he's doing history homework anymore." Like, come on. Where were the parents? They're being raised in the streets as animals. And just to close this off, so we can have an even minute, I gave y'all an extra 10 minutes. Let's talk about this H&M thing. And I'm here to tell you, H&M has done this before. If you don't know about it, go look up their All Lives Matter propaganda shirt. H&M is cheap garbage for cheap garbage people, and I mean, it's just about time. Their prices and all the bullshit. And you're probably thinking to yourself, "Oh, Hero, you can't tell me you don't own something from H&M." I can tell you I don't own shit from H&M. The way I can tell you I don't own shit from H&M is because they don't make shit in my size. I'm fat, so I have the luxury of buying my clothes at full price. But I mean, seriously, you have to be like mental if you don't see this pattern of rotation. Racism is starting to be a selling point. Racism sells because what you do is you claim ignorance. You make a sappy apology. People feel sorry for you. They go back to your stores, and all of a sudden, it's happening right during a seasonal change. H&M doesn't make like winter clothes. They're not known for cold weather clothes. And since the summer season lasted longer than expected, they've been pushing a lot of their summer clothes. Look at their quarter look at their financial quarterly earnings, and you'll see this trend. Basically, the last 2 quarters have been kind of low for them, or not just increasing at the rate that they expected it to, and they need a boost, especially when they know they're not going to get much sales because they're not known for their winter clothing. Look at what the kid has on. It's a sweater. Like, they're making their plush run right now. So when the summertime comes around, it's, hey, remember we made that mistake in the wintertime, so now we're going to make it up to you in the summer. And oh, they got all these culturally appropriate and culturally aware ass outfits. We need to have a way of punishing these companies for their social media hate, because they pay millions upon millions of dollars to advertise to us, and for some reason they advertise the most seductive, dangerous. Like, can you believe that beer commercials still exist? How many people died in a car accident last year because of alcohol? And the numbers have dropped significantly, but more people are dying from car accidents than people waiting on transplant list. In like, no, that's not a true statement at all. In fact, let's look that up. But more people are dying still in car accidents due to alcohol consumption. And I mean, like, we're just a very weird country. We're far from great. Like, we're the only country where we'll push guns, drugs. Only country will push guns, fentanyl, alcohol, cigarettes, just junk food, fast food, some of the worst things on earth for you, but won't give you universal health care. We won't give raises to teachers. Like, we're just really backwards, and I don't know, man. H&M is just garbage, but we need to come up with a way of punishing these companies, whether financial penalty or get the ACLU involved, where we can like a lawsuit, because what they're proactively doing is feeding off of the flash hate, which is what I call it, where you do something grotesque to get a bunch of attention really quick, and you can find a way of profiting off of that attention. Because now everyone's talking about H&M and their garbage ass clothes. And hey, if you wear H&M, I don't think you're a garbage person. I know you are. No, I'm just playing. Wear whatever you want, because stuff's expensive today. But I'm going to cut this off. I'm done. I'm over it. I had to re-record this part, if y'all can't tell, because my app stopped working. So, 5 minutes. I got 30 seconds. I'm going to tell you guys about where to reach me, which is going to be Facebook, Project ETO. Twitter or Instagram, you can hit me up at Project_ETO. Feel like writing me a sophisticated, educated letter instead of dropping me a troll meme in my Twitter box? Cool. Email me, project_ETO@yahoo.com, or hit me up at project.eto1@gmail.com. Love to hear from you guys. Continue to listen, continue to support, share, like, comment, subscribe. Hit the little eye in the top right corner, as my lovely Zemi has informed you guys. I have another page in the works with 3 videos on the way talking about my comic book and just the process of it. They're really short videos, all about 3 minutes. They're just character introductions for now. The comic book is on the 22nd page out of 40, inking. If you know what that means, kudos to you. If you don't, that means I still got a long ass time to go. So, it's been a pleasure. You guys take care of yourselves. I'm out of here.
Here's other information just in from the correspondence traveling with an important bulletin.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has